Hey, this is Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap, and today I want to talk to you about anxiety and emotional investment as a business analyst and how this really can affect our productivity, how it can affect our lives, and how it can really take away from the fulfilling, enjoyable work that we come to business analysis for. And I personally, we just finished the launch of the Data Modeling for Business Analyst course. I'm sure if you've been part of the community, you noticed what we were doing and saw that we launched a new program. And that kind of work to me is it's always so tough emotionally to put a new creation out to the world, to run a really big launch, to get really visible about what we do at Bridging the Gap, to kind of wonder like who's going to buy our stuff and is anybody going to react well to what I have to offer, right? It's a time of definitely emotional investment, and I've learned a lot of ways to manage that, and they've been really critical to my personal growth as a human being and as a business owner and as a business analyst. And it kind of brought me back to that time when, as a business analyst, I would get so invested, like in what my work was, in the outcomes of the project, in like all the nuances and issues that were coming up, and who thought what about everything. And I would get so kind of caught up in a lot of those details, and it would result in unhealthy activities, things like working until 11 o'clock at night and getting up in the morning and having kind of all kinds of ideas floating through my head about my project and never really feeling like I got to rest. So I wanted to share with you some of the strategies that you can use for specific things to really be productive and manage your emotional investment in your projects. So let's jump in with the 4 different things. So first is just finding some time to turn off work. And this can be really hard. It might be like instead of turning it off at 11 o'clock, you turn it off at 9. Baby steps, right? It might be, maybe you can go to 6. Maybe 6 o'clock's not a great time because, you have a family and, from 6 to 8 is family time or should be family time. But not too recently, I talked to somebody who said, my laptop is always on. It's at the dinner table with me while I'm trying to talk to my kids and my husband, right? And so maybe it's creating a space from 6 to 8 at night that is, no laptops allowed, and then checking in later if that works for you. Whatever it is, it's finding a space where you detach and it's okay and it's safe not to work. Super, super important. And once you get that done, I would challenge you to go a step further and find a 24-hour period over the weekend where you're also detaching and not working. Really important just to have that emotional space to do the things you want to do and to not be thinking about work. And I guarantee you will show up for work more energized, more productive. Your ideas will be better. Your way that you can handle challenges will be better. And when you do this at first, you might have to kind of replace it with something else. So I actually like to do a lot of my personal development in the evenings. So that's when I read books, I take courses. I also like to have some fun activities too. Like I like to do puzzles. It's a great way to keep your mind busy, but still not be doing work, is to find a habit or a fun activity like doing puzzles or crafts so that you're engaged in some way. But again, a little bit detached from work. So that's the first thing, find that space. The second thing to really be thinking about is practicing some self-care. So when I was in a corporate environment, as things got busier and my responsibilities got bigger, it's like I went from being really good about working out every day and eating really good foods to, slowly like the workouts got less and less. And I was going out to lunch or having people just bring me lunch. I didn't have time to go out to lunch. And then before you knew it, like I wasn't even drinking water or taking time to go to the bathroom. Like it was just crazy, right? It was just the slippery slope of not taking care of me. And I can tell you that as a corporate manager, I was not always the best role model for my employees And if you are a leader in your space, like this is a place where you can step up and lead visibly within your work environment as well. So how could you do that? Like start by drinking the water. Like if you don't have to go to the bathroom, it's probably because you're not drinking enough water, right? So go drink the water, take some space to go for a walk, even if it's just for 10-15 minutes, get outside during your workday. Bring healthy, nutritious snacks to work. Really think about how you can take care of you, because somebody who takes care of themselves is better able to help others. And so I guarantee you, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're missing things. You're missing connections. You're showing up to meetings frazzled. Like I know when I have to go to the bathroom, like I'm not listening very well. I'm not showing up as my best self. And so that is happening to you too. You're not helping anyone by being a martyr. So find some ways to take care of you. So that brings us to step 3. So when you start taking care of yourself, you're probably going to be able to be more aware about what's triggering you. Like what's happening when you go out on that walk and you're like, gosh, I was really fired up in that meeting, or I was really upset about how that stakeholder challenged the requirements, or the way that they were connecting with each other, not connecting with each other, or that somebody, showed up 15 minutes late to my meeting again, and that really, really irks me, right? And you'll be able to just generate that awareness of the places in your work that trigger you emotionally. And it's so important to just say, oh, there it is, it's showing up again. And to start to see those patterns. What are the things that bother you and why are they bothering you? And just allow that space to cultivate that awareness for yourself. And you don't necessarily have to do anything about it. Just stopping enough to notice is going to kind of go a long way to helping you deal with it a little bit more productively and come up with some alternate solutions. Okay, so that's the next thing, is just cultivating that awareness. Like, oh, I'm kind of upset about this. I wonder why. Allow yourself to be curious about your own being and think about your work in a different way. And once you do that, you can really then want to start to focus on what can you control in those situations. So you can't control that somebody chooses to show up late. You can't control a lot of what happens at work, right? What you can control is the quality of your work, the expectations you set with others, the boundaries you set for yourself, and your reaction. That's what you can control. So how could you, and maybe some of these situations, like there is something that you could do to change, right? Oh, if I sent a reminder the day before or the hour before, or, maybe people would be more likely to show up. If I structured my meetings in a different way, maybe people would be more likely to show up. And that is just one issue, because that comes up a lot for BAs that I'm talking about. It can really be any challenging issue that really triggers you and it causes that emotional ness. So, just looking at that, focusing on what can you control. You can set a boundary. There's times that again, on the meeting front, I've said, if certain people aren't here by 5 minutes after or 10 minutes after, I'm canceling the meeting. We're all walking out. We're going to do something else. Or maybe we'll refocus the agenda on something that the group that's there can handle. And then it becomes a very visible delay in our projects because I've set that boundary about how I'm going to be treated as a business analyst and how our meetings are going to run and how we're going to respect the time of the people who show up in the meetings. So, just think about then what boundaries you could set, what can you control that's going to generate a different outcome in the future. But again, you can't control much, right? You can't control what other people do. You can't control how they treat you. You can't control their reactions when you do set a boundary, right? You can't control what they think, how they feel. There's so much that's just out of your control, and you can let it go. It's safe to let it go and to focus on what you can control, because when you do that, these problems sometimes just start to solve themselves. You start to show up as a better, more proactive, awesome BA who's shining as a leader and who people want to work with because you're happier emotionally and you're more fully available to everyone else on your team. And you start to put these pieces in place, magical things start to happen. I've seen it in my own personal growth. I've seen it in the people that are really, really doing well in the profession, both in corporate and those who own their own businesses. And I hope I want to see it for you as well. So just to quickly recap, this has been one of our longer videos. It's a touchy topic. There's a lot to cover here. I could talk about this for hours. And if you have questions about this, please leave a comment below because I would really love to have a conversation about this one. So just to recap though, the 4 things are practicing self-care, having times that you totally detach from work. That was actually number 1. Self-care at work was number 2. Let's see, cultivating awareness, just paying attention to what triggers you emotionally is step 3. And focusing on what you can control is step 4. So I hope these really help you manage that emotional investment you have in your work. Again, my name is Laura Brandenburg. I'm the creator of Bridging the Gap, and thank you so much for being here.